Hey, this is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com. Today is Monday, August the 27th. This will be our chart lesson for today. It was just another really slow and miserable trading day. If you didn't catch this short or this long right here, then there just wasn't much going on. These were all legitimate shorts. Um, this one took a little bit to work out. This one was probably more questionable than any of the other two, but I'll discuss each of them. Um, this was the first really good short, and this is just you kind of got this, probably should have had a line here, but you got this, what was resistance right here that turned into, um, we broke above it. It acted as support just temporarily, and we broke high, and then we came down, and prices held there a minute and then broke on through and then pulled back. So the real support was down here and down here. I was looking for prices to at least come down in this area, but we did come all the way back and test these lows from, and this was kind of the what I call a thin spot from Friday, from the big rally we had Friday, and you can see that we had the highs here and we broke above it, and then it was acting as support after that. So I was looking for us to come back and test that more than likely. The problem was there wasn't a really good setup. You could have entered long right here. But anyway, back to the short. I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm thinking ahead here. But we tested that a couple times here. By that time, we had several overlapping bars, but we really were not very close to the support. So there's plenty of room. So this one was worth the risk. And it was, it's right at the open. So it's worth the risk. Hoping that we're going to get another leg down, and you see there's no real bullishness. There's one bar in there, so this is really kind of this is really a two-legged pullback to the EMA. Let me show you this. You got your low here, and you went up, and then you pulled back down, and then you went back up again, and this one closed on its low. So there was a lot of selling going on right there. So it was, it was a semi-decent trade. If you saw it, great. If you didn't, then you should have been thinking, hey, I need to be thinking about a long down here. And notice we got you got leg one there and then leg two, and that's right, exactly where we went to. If you entered right here, you got trapped, and it gave you a chance to enter at the lows of this little trading range near a strong support. But you can see they ran it down and ran those stops on that, and then it went back up, and then they tried to take it lower again, then again, and we tested it two more times. So even taking this long was really suspect, because you're really taking a chance of getting long right here at the highs again. So I didn't really like this setup, but the fact that we made this a little bit lower low than this one and then closed on this high here, it really looked like a trap. And you can see on a bigger picture that's a failed second entry long, so it's going to be a bigger second entry long on a bigger time frame. So if you took it, great. If you didn't, I don't blame you. I didn't enter right there. I actually bought this down here. I actually bought it blindly, and because I was thinking we were probably just going to break a little. I really thought we were going to go a little bit lower than that. I was looking to get low right here at this low, and when it ticked one tick lower, I went long right there. I had a buy limit right there and got long right there. So, but I would have been really leery about entering way up here. But if you saw it, it was a good trade, just for the reasons I just spoke about. Anytime you see, I got some questions about this right here, how to trade this. People were thinking short off these highs, but you've got too strong support right here, and so it's really dangerous going short at these highs. You're better off to go long, because in the bigger picture, these are the lows of this bigger movement right here. Hopefully that makes sense. I don't have a whole lot of time to try to explain that. But all this is these lows are holding here, and people are leery about going long. So it takes a few tries. People want to see on a bigger time frame a couple of tries that fail to go short right there. But you definitely don't want to be going short right in here. What you have to do is let prices break through here and come back and test it, and then try to get short if you think there's another leg like this, which I was expecting another possible leg, but we didn't get it till here. And here's your measured move right there. And then if you bring that over, I was looking for prices to make a new low right in here, and they did make a new low, but only by a tick or so. And it was way too late in the day to really try to take advantage of that. So but that was this is basically a two-legged correction here. And hopefully you were drawing your short-term trend lines, because if you did, it would have kept you on the right side of this trade. And that's the only reason you had these couple of shorts here. And let me explain this short. Again, this is another high-risk short, but it's one of the trades that I will take a lot. And I did take this trade. And what I did was, again, I shorted on the break higher right there because we had this little 2-bar matching high. There was a good chance we could go up here, so you got to be real leery about this, but this falls within our rules. And notice the overlap, and there's 3 or more overlapping bars, at least 2 of them are dojis, and look how far away we are from the EMA. Generally when prices break above that and turn back down, or when they break above that, it's a trap. And what they were trying to do was, with this move, was get everybody to thinking like Friday, where we had all these big moves over here. And it just didn't transpire today. They were just tricking everybody where they could get short and take it on down. And this is really just a range day, and you can kind of see the range, and it's really more like that right there. And it's about a 408 to 414, so about a 5 or 6 point range. And so you got to be leery about, they love to suck everybody in and get them to thinking that it's going to be one kind of day and then turn it into another, especially if it's, when it gets in a range, the prices will stay in a range like this for days, and all of a sudden you'll try to sell the highs or buy the lows, and then prices will go on through and never look back, and you're stuck, you're trapped. So you can't allow, if you're wrong, if you get in right here and prices go higher than this bar, then you probably need to exit, because there's a good chance we're going up here. And but by entering right here where I did, you're only looking at 2 ticks right there. So when that bar closed, you could put your stop a tick or 2 up here, and you're only looking at 3 or 4 ticks you're talking about losing if you're wrong, with the odds highly on your side that they're going to come back to the EMA. So I'm not suggesting that most people try to do that to sell blindly, but even once you had this little doji right here, you could have sold this. And you can see prices never really threatened that high again for the rest of the day, and you would have been short from the high of the day after the regular open. So just something to think about. And while this is not a, the only reason I didn't really like it right here after this little failed break was because this ended with a green body, and even though it did close on its low. So I've got mixed emotions about entering once you saw how this set up, and you can see prices did kind of struggle to go lower, and then we finally had a little break lower that failed and turned up, and then tried to turn back down. And this is a failed second entry long, and it looks like a trap, but we're really close to the EMA. There's not a lot of room to get out. But you have to be thinking shorts as well, because look, we broke above this, out of this range, and we never tested that. Prices will usually come back real quick and test that and then go higher. If they don't, the further they get away, the bigger the odds are that it's either going to be a big trend day or we're going to work our way back down. And it took a while to get this reversing, and really what it is there wasn't a lot of volume today. The big guys just were not trading. I guess they bought enough Friday that they took a day off today. And but this, once we started working lower here, this was a great setup here. This is a breakout pullback short. It's a pullback to that trend line, and you might have even had this trend line like that right there. But it's generally off the first couple of bars, and you can see once we had that close there, then you had a good idea, especially when it came back again. And then this was a trap. This was a nice setup too. And we had a second entry long, people thinking that they were catching the low, and we had come back and gotten close to testing this. So, but all this did was trap people on. We hadn't had any break of this trend line yet. So you got to be thinking about that. And so this was a great place to go short. And by this time you ought to be thinking, hey, we're probably making another leg down that should equal this one. And if nothing else, you're probably going to make a leg down equaling that leg. And if you drag that over, you can see we got really close to that. And that was really about it today. I mean, we got stuck. I mean, we traded up into this bar just slightly after 10 o'clock, and it was really 12:30 before this downtrend. You could say we were in a downtrend here because this is just overlap, and this is the breakout that failed at first, and then it turned into a breakout pullback short. So the trend really started right in this area right here. And so if you take that into account, from slightly after 10 to almost 12:30, getting close to 1 o'clock, I mean, we didn't make 10 bars there. So there just was not much going on. And you don't want to be entering in that stuff. You got to wait for something to happen like this breakout pullback short or this two-legged pullback that trapped the longs. And then after that, there was really a breakout pullback short here. But it didn't get back to the EMA. It's way down here close to these lows. So it was suspect, and especially with all those overlapping bars. I didn't like it. I didn't take it, and I wouldn't suggest anybody take it. Of course, I was through trading by this time anyway. I wasn't looking to enter any longer. And you see it's almost 2:30 by that time. It's way too late in the afternoon, so there just really wasn't much. So if you didn't catch this one or this one, this was really about it for the day. These were the only two really good trades in the afternoon. This one was okay if you noticed what was going on here. If you just entered to be entering there, it was probably a terrible trade. But if you saw this little congestion area or trading range, it's way away from the EMA, and then prices broke above it and failed, didn't go anywhere. Because if this would have been a good breakout, prices should have taken off. And you can go back and look what would happen on the really good setups the other day. When they broke out, they kind of took off. And you can see that. This one broke out. And they didn't really hesitate. Once they broke higher, they kind of took off. And they were really taking off from their lows. If you go back and look at all the pullbacks, you notice they didn't pull back very far. We finally got a little bit of pullback here, and then a little bigger pullback here, and then another stronger pullback. It didn't pull back as far, but it was much stronger. So, and what it is the higher you go and the more the pullbacks begin to get larger, the bears begin to get a little braver. And so there's none of that here. It's just a lot of overlap and stuff. So, and down here as well. So anytime you see that, you got to be really careful about how to enter out of that. You're better off just to sit patient or walk away for a little while and come back and see if prices have started moving, or just close up and wait till tomorrow. But again, drawing these short-term trend lines will help you. You can see we broke this one here. We went to a new low, and then we stumbled around a while before we went higher. Then we had this little trend line. We broke it. We actually broke it here. We moved to a new high, and then it was pretty much over. We stumbled around a little bit, and then we finally sold off. And we never really broke this trend line except for some stems. So no reason to be thinking long yet out of this one, really. So hopefully that makes sense to you. And that's really about it for today. Again, this trade was iffy. This was a pretty good setup, and these were two pretty good setups. These two, you have to have a really keen eye to spot them, and I doubt many people saw them. It's possible you got long over in here and had your stop down here, and if you did, that was probably the smart move, because the worst that happens is, and you just about have to give it more than a tick, because look how many times, we had a new low and then we went one tick lower, and that's what'll happen. We went one tick lower right here. We went one tick lower here than here. And that's what happens. People get in too early, and they keep running the stops and taking you out, and it starts to burn the shorts, and they finally give up and decide to go long, and then you get a big move like that. So But anyway, just not much happening today. Just not a lot of volume. Even this big move here, there wasn't a lot of volume. I think most of this was probably stop running. And then people, small traders jumping on thinking they were going to catch some more of what happened Friday. And so don't get lulled to sleep by what's going on the previous days. Always be prepared that, a trend or a type of day can change on a dime. And even though we may get another 10 or 15 days of this mess right here again, and then they may have another big rally up or another big rally down or a big move down like we had. I wouldn't call that a rally, but another big move down. I'm sorry. But that's how they do you. Just when you think you got it figured out and you figure you know what you should have done, then the next day they'll trick you into thinking you need to do what you should have done the previous day, and you get burned all over again. So just try to have a clean slate when you come in to trade every day, and don't try guessing where. Just follow the price action, and don't worry about what prices are doing or why they're doing. I guess you want to worry about what they're doing, but don't worry why they're doing what they're doing, or don't try to second guess them. Just follow the price action, and you will be much better off. So I'm going to wrap it up. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.